Welcome, everybody. For those of you who are listening live, or for those of you who are replaying this, we as a community have had such devastating trauma and incomprehensible loss. I'm Bonnie Goldstein, and I'm here today to share with you some of the tools that our community is working with to help people all across the planet address the helplessness, the hopelessness, and the despair that they are finding, both from the loss of lives from COVID-19 and the profound disruption of the lives of our people worldwide, and also in America, our twin pandemic that's threatening our country and our common human connections, as acts of injustice and cruelty shake us and cause such heartbreak across America. My heart goes out to all of you, to all of us. In fact, let's just take a minute to put our hands on our hearts, this area that needs comfort. Those of you who are in our Sensorimotor psychotherapy community are very familiar with this movement and how it calms the central nervous system, how it speaks to our physiology. And even as you're watching and you're doing this movement, you may feel yourself calm down from the activation that comes up at these times. This is a time to harness the inner wisdom of our body. Next week, on June 11th, Pat Ogden and I will be describing ways to go beyond this current trauma that we're all feeling globally, providing tools to support the vital work that all of you are doing, and providing tools to support you and your heart and your body. These physical actions can be used to help you deepen your understanding of what's happening inside your body, of the somatic narrative, of what's happening mind and body, what's happening top down, the stories and how our body experiences these, and also what's happening bottom up. Those of you who had your hand on your heart, you may have noticed a calming. This is often a movement I do at the beginning of any time I teach or speak, because it helps me to regulate, as I hope it helps you. And it becomes one of the many tools for us as we together go on this very complicated journey. When we're working with our clients who are feeling hopeless, who are feeling despair, questions such as, tell me where it hurts. Help them to think about where inside their body they're experiencing the pain. As we use psychoeducation through the lens of sensorimotor psychotherapy, we're explaining the sympathetic nervous system's response to threats that are very real and other threats that are perceived threats. We're looking at what the buy-in is for our clients, especially our clients who are more skeptical about the role of the body in therapy, or the role of therapy in helping to heal, in helping to process. So as we harness this wisdom, the body's inner wisdom, we're working collaboratively with our clients to find a way to help them use the tools they've already utilized, the resources that they have found in our community and from within to help themselves. And we're helping them to process. After identifying, we're helping them to process what's going on in their body. While we therapists don't have answers, we can offer answers about how to resource yourself to calm your nervous system. We can help in the present moment using the mindfulness that is so powerful in sensorimotor psychotherapy to be able to be with our clients, to be able to engage with them. Embedded relational mindfulness, a tool that Pat Ogden leads in community to understand, is an invitation to know what's going on right here, right now in the present moment. As you watch, perhaps you're part of a community that has felt the aloneness and felt the isolation. For some of us, this isolation has been refueling or insightful, or we've learned tools or tricks, or we feel ourselves being calmed by the change in the pace of our day. For others, it's brought a sense of isolation and hardship that is untenable. The suicidal ideation, the hopelessness that I've been hearing about from my clients, from people of all ages, has grown exponentially over these last few months. All of my adolescent clients, every one of my adolescent clients knows someone who has thought about suicide, or they've thought about it themselves, or they've thought about not wanting to go on. It's for this reason that Pat Ogden and I are collaborating on June 11th, because these are questions that we are globally facing, and the challenges that we face find such a sense of connectedness when we start to talk about it, when we start to name it, when we know other people that we care about are struggling as well, are on a journey to find meaning, are on a journey to find a reason to go on or to be of service to others. Reconnecting people who are struggling and fall back into their prior behaviors, be it an addictive behavior, be it problematic behaviors. We want to help them harness their sense of what they've done in the past that worked. We want to help invite, through our curiosity and through our supportive nature, we want to invite in their own sense of possibilities. I call it playing with possibilities. And we use some of the different sensorimotor psychotherapy interventions that so many of you are familiar with, and that are available through papers and through speeches and through workshops online, available many for free. There was a workshop that Pat and I did 2 months ago, right as we started recognizing the need for long distance therapy, that is available to all of us, and a follow-up that Pat offered to the community, helping us to take the tools that we know, to be able to reflect on tools that we have found over the course of our practice or over the course of our being alive. As I identify a few of the different tools that we can talk about today, one of them is helping our clients to restore a sense of power, a sense of action from within, a movement perhaps, or a sense of potency, because that has been what so many people say they don't have access to. They feel a sense of helplessness. Why bother? Hopelessness. It won't change. I'm unsafe. Fear. As we track their body, we look for slivers of movement, signs of hope, slivers like the new moon, slivers of shifts that happen in their body. Then we capitalize on those. I'm thinking of a client that the very slightest movement of her hand started to identify for both of us a pattern, a movement that was wanting to happen. And as we spoke, she was able to identify that she just wished She was so filled with emotion and anger that she wished she could just push somebody. She was speaking to me from her desk, looking into the internet. And together we came up with an intervention I had not used before, but one I'm going to share with you now. Instead, I wonder what would happen if you took your hands and just pushed against the desk. And she was in a wheelie chair like I am now, and she pushed against the chair. Her chair moved back, and she said, I'm so angry. And I said, let's do it again. And she started doing it. And she did it over and over. And something about that push, and she pushed very hard, allowed her to feel a sense of action. And then we went to, what is the meaning of all that pushing? She said, I want to say stop. And she really could feel that. For her, stop the violence, stop what she was sensing was a sense of out of control community. And so we had her do this over and over, this push. We then took pillows and piled them up. So she pushed away. And as she came to the edge of the pillows, it nurtured her. She was able to sink. The chair was able to sink into a bit of a cushion. You can use a large exercise ball for the same sort of movement. And then we went back to what was happening in her body at the end of all that pushing. She took a large breath and said, I feel so much better. I feel like I can just be with my body. So we went to that feeling, identified and framed that new feeling in the aftermath of all that pushing, and letting her settle in. She said, I don't think I've taken a breath in 3 months. She went back, she said, from March 13th, when I was trapped in my home for safety purposes, until today, until this movement, I don't think I noticed. And I'm thinking of Mary Oliver's line, listen, are you breathing just a little and calling it a life? And that line, when I said it to her, she took a deeper breath and she said, yeah, that's me. And so we focused on her breath. I asked if that would be a way we could help take her to an even deeper mindful experience of her breath with me right here, right now. Mindfulness and Sensorimotor psychotherapy happens between us, in the moments between, in the space of the relationship. We're able to capitalize on things that we notice or our clients notice. She was able to notice her breath. And I encouraged her to do an exercise that one of our wonderful board members, Steve Porges, had taught to me many years ago, which I'll share with you now. May sound familiar to many of you, but for some it may be something new. For her, it was all new and just so wonderful. Steve encouraged me to take a breath in. And when I exhale much longer than my inhale. So if I'm public speaking, I exhale with much longer sentences. Breathing in, and that exhale even longer stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, helps us to calm. Try it right now as you're listening if you wish. Perhaps you too have felt that sense of breathlessness, or that sense of I just can't breathe. In the Sensorimotor psychotherapy training, I show a video of a little boy where he pulls on his shirt collar. And I said, ooh, taking a breath is hard. And he goes, yeah. And you could hear him struggling to get a breath. So we coupled that with this movement. I said, just open your arms. Notice what's happening right here. And he was able to say, I feel so much better. Similarly, with our client who had done all that pushing, I had noticed she hadn't taken any noticeable breaths, but bringing that to her attention allowed us to drop in, notice the absence of breath with me, the absence of breath that had been her experience. She would say, I watch television far too much, and I'm always holding my breath, waiting for the next thing to happen. Some of you may be doing that same thing. I beg of you to take a technology break, to find a different way to learn the news that's not the visual. Staying informed does not mean we need to be bombarded with the visual. In the sensorimotor psychotherapy world, we're often working with the senses. And this is one sense, those visual and or auditory senses of what's happening now. That's on overload. So I invite you all to join me, to join my family. I know my husband has the hardest time because he feels his ability to stay resourced is knowing, having information. And yet so too, taking a break, closing the television or the technology, reading if necessarily at the beginning of the day or in the evenings, so we stay informed, but we allow our senses to have a rest. And then if I jump back to our intervention that I described with the pushing, which will be detailed far more on June 11th, when Pat and I teach these different ways of working with hopelessness. We'll go to one more opportunity, that of posture. This position of elongated posture had eluded our client, was not available until together we were able to find a new posture that felt safe for her. She described going through the world like this, out of fear, out of anxiety, out of being housebound for the safety of others. So working with the posture and the pushing, working with the breath, being aware of the openness, all of these different moments and movements, and working collaboratively, having a witness, having myself, or having all of you as a witness to our client's pain and as a witness to our client's growth and as a witness to our client's resilience, because they are so resilient. We are so resilient. We've been called upon to really count on our inner resilience and the gift that we can give the people we love and the clients we work with is to go with them on the journey and help them understand their body's innate intelligence as they transform negative thoughts to positive ones. I wish you all safety. Safety in community, safety as you stay safe at home, and blessings to you all. Thank you.